This is a story about the rain wasn't in the forecast. So we just got back from this little mini vacation, and I wanted to get this written down while it's still fresh in my mind. Not that it's like to go away anytime soon. Myself, my wife, Jaden, and our friends, Rylan and Anna, decided to go a little trip up north from where we live. Anna's dad bought a cabin a few years ago, intending on eventually moving up there. But unfortunately, her mom got sick and it's gone unused. Anna thought some time away from everything would be nice and invited Jaden and I to join, which we gladly accepted. We made the 4-hour trip to the town and the cabin, Long Lake. When they said cabin, I was expecting a little run-down cottage in the middle of the woods. And while in the middle of the woods it was anything but a run-down cottage. A long path through the woods that dipped down before rising again leads to a structure which is 2 floors. There is a bit of land surrounding the cabin on all sides, and dense woods for as far as the eye could pass us. The backyard has a fire pit dug into the ground out a short distance, and lining the sliding back door is a pedo set. The inside is very open, with the living room connected to the kitchen, connecting to the dining room, and a hallway that has the downstairs bathroom and a bedroom that was completely empty. The stairs led up to a loft that overlooks the living room, set up kind of like a den, and then opposite that is a hallway with another bedroom, with another 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. We each took an upstairs bedroom and got our stuff situated, while Jordan and Anna kind of made the place feel like a little more homey. Rylan and I went outside to chop some firewood. The first odd thing happened when we were all out back having a fire. It had been completely dark for about a half an hour when we were just sitting around the fire pit talking, and all of a sudden, as in seemingly completely out of nowhere, the fire just exploded. It sounds dramatic, but it's really the only way I could think of it to describe it. A million little glowing orange embers popped out and floated up. The wood that had been strategically stacked was now a pile. We all kind of let out exclamations and weren't really sure what had happened. But then the loudest, most pain squeaking any of us had ever heard started ringing out, and something in the middle of the fire started flailing about. It was a crow. It didn't take long for it to die, since basically as soon as it hit the fire, it was engulfed in flames. It was bizarre. It was like the bird had just went straight down into the fire. We sat around the fire for a while longer with no other issues, and when we went to bed around midnight, all 4 of us were woken up at just after 3:30 a.m. by a loud clap of thunder. It was weird, not only because there was no call for rain during the days we were supposed to be there, but because the rain was coming down hard, like really hard, and once we were all awake, we couldn't hear it. But none of us heard it until the clap of thunder. Jordan and I had gotten out of bed when we heard Anna and Rylan's door open, and I looked out the window that faced the backyard, and in short time, it had been raining. It had turned the backyard into a swamp. The four of us went downstairs to hang out until the storm passed. Just because the rain was coming down so forcefully, it was seriously too loud to sleep through. By the end of it, the area around the car was just pure mud, and the road that leads to the cabin, the one with the dip, was flooded. Standing us there, this freaked us out a bit at first. Then, it occurred to us that we were planning on being there for a few more days anyways, and that by the time we were planning on leaving, it likely wouldn't be a problem anymore. We spent the day just hanging around the house, and shortly after we'd gone to bed the second night, we were woken up again by a loud clap of thunder. But about 10 seconds after that, Jordan and I hear Anna scream from the other room. We ran out of our room and into theirs and to see what's going on. Anna is curled onto Rylan on the bed, visibly afraid. She tells us that someone is outside by the trees. Jordan and I rushed to the window to look, but there was no one in sight. We tried to reason with her that it was probably an animal, but she was really shaken up. So the rain once again keeps us up, and we once again go downstairs to wait out the noisy storm. After about an hour, Anna had calmed down a bit, but then we hear a scratching at the front door. It wasn't a threatening sound, more just like if a small dog was trying to let its owner know it was ready to come back inside. Then the chittering started. We surmised it must have been a raccoon or some similar animal, though why would it be trying to get in beyond us? After a few minutes, Rylan got up to shoo it away, but I had the worst feeling about the entire situation. In no uncertain terms, I told him not to open the door. He thought I was crazy for being so admitted about it, but he obliged. I think my attitude put the girls on edge too. The scratching and chittering went on for another almost 2 hours. Then it suddenly just stopped. What followed was a sigh. Annoying sigh. And then heavy footsteps walking across the wooden porch. The entire length of the front of the house has a very nice porch with 2 windows looking down on it. Whatever was scratching at the door stood taller than those windows and did a weird kind of walk. Almost a limp across the porch, the silhouette of which we watched move across and then leap over the side of our view. It was then obviously that we knew that something was seriously wrong. Cell phones don't get any service up there, and Anna's parents had never set up a landline. So we picked a room to all huddle in until the daylight came, and that was Rylan and Anna's room. I know being on the second floor is a rookie mistake, a horror movie, but the only room with a door on the first floor was the completely empty bedroom. And we all agreed that being in there would have just left us vulnerable, so we took the chance. Also, how was anything going to get to the second floor from outside, right? Wrong. After about 45 minutes, as we were all just sitting in the room with the lights and the TV on, Jaden let out a scream, "Oh my God," and pointed at the window upstairs, upside down, as if it were hanging from the roof by its feet was something. We could really only see the face, but obviously it was connected to a body. But the face, it was like someone had been blindfolded and drawn a face. The eyes were like 3 times as large as a normal person's and took up most of its forehead. The nose was pinched and small, and the mouth seemed to literally stretch from ear to ear. It had a somewhat angry, if not blank, look on its face, and it seemed to be panting. My recollection of it could very well be squelched. As I was quiet, afraid, and only saw it for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, all 4 of us described it similarly when we talked about it after the fact. Ryland yelled out, "What the flip?" And the thing screeched and bashed its head against the window, hard enough to crack it. Then it pulled itself up, and we heard footsteps going back and forth across the roof. That went on for about an hour, and we all sat there with our eyes glued to the window. Eventually, we heard the footsteps go to the edge of the roof and stop. From where I was sitting, I could look up and just barely see the spot at which they stopped. And I saw a shape in the rain, pierced on the edge. I nudged Ryland and he looked too, and we watched as it jumped down to the ground, on all 4s to the woods, and onto the side of the house. For the next several hours until daylight, whatever the thing was spent its time climbing up trees and staring at us, standing at the edge of the woods and staring at us, and sprinting on all 4s to the ground right below the window, and staring at us before going back to the tree line. As the sun rose, the rain stopped. We had all of our stuff packed, and for about 45 minutes, we worked at getting the car unlodged from the muddy valley to the driveway. As we were all driving away, the ground became dry only about 75 yards from the house, and from that point on, it was as if no rain had fallen. I know that was a rather unfaithful ending, but that's how it happened. All I know is that we won't be going back to Long Island.